back to another video. I'm going to go through the freeCodeCamp first project, which is called Survey Form. This is on the responsive web design certificate. And yeah, you can see I've actually created this or completed this before when I first went through it. That probably would have been back in 2020 when I was learning to code. So yeah, I don't think much has changed or anything on this. But yeah, I thought it would be good to record a video, and because I've done the rest of the series, kind of sort of finish it off with these projects, which yeah, I certainly found useful when I was going through the course and the curriculum the first time. So as we can see here, the objective is to build an app that is functionally similar to this one over here. So we've got a survey form where we can enter our name, can enter an email, for example. Age is optional field. We've got a drop down here, some radio buttons, which you'll have learned about hopefully by now. Again, another drop down, some checkboxes, so multi-select. That's obviously one or the other. Open text here, so I could just type in anything, and a submit form. And then we can see here, this is a required option. That was probably required too. And let's see, does that submit anywhere? No, but that's fine. Cool, so that's what we're going after. So actually I'll keep this open and we can kind of refer back to it as needed. What's quite cool is I've only just noticed this now, but they've got this is here, so it's the title of user stories. And if you haven't worked in a dev environment before, which I have now for coming up to 2 years, in a couple of months, this is kind of part of, I guess, the agile process, or the way you would build tickets, is that, you know, when you're kind of trying to break down, let's say, tasks and development, you break it down to kind of the smallest possible piece. And sometimes you'll have a user story, which is, yeah, obviously what you want the user to do or to go through on a piece of software, is, yeah, just some items and tick boxes to confirm that it's all there. So we can see we've got 16 here. We want to fulfill all of these and pass the tests, and that will give us complete that project. We can give it our own personal style. But yeah, I'm probably going to leave that for now because, I'm not going to spend too much time on the styling. Feel free to give that a go yourself. But as you can see here, probably the first thing we want to do is actually link this style sheet, and then we can give it a test. So let's jump over to the index.html, which is this one, and then styles.css will be this one here. So just to begin with, and you can see we've got two completely blank files. In the CSS, I'm just going to give it a background dash color of green, and I just want to make sure that we are linking the index.html to the style sheet, or the other way around. I wonder if that is gonna, so there's no autocomplete, which I'm not quite used to. So let me just do the doc type of HTML, like so, and that then signifies it's a HTML file. And then we'll want to create sort of a head tag, oops, not a header, head, and a closing head tag, and also a body tag like that, slash body, like so. And let's just test the body. There we go. And within the head tag here, we want to link our CSS file, which I've done there. And there you go, you can see that just turns to green. So we know that the CSS now, whatever we write in this file, will sort of reflect on the page, assuming we've got the right selectors, so on and so forth. So, right, and what I'm going to do is actually close the style sheet for now. We'll just work with the HTML, and then as we go, you might want to, sort of add some more information. I can't actually remember if we need to add a HTML tag around all of this, but let's see as we go if it will error or not. As I said, I actually work in React and sort of Next and sort of different frameworks and libraries now, so some of this is, I just can't remember off the top of my head, but it seems to be working so far. So within the first user story, you should have a page title with a h1 element with an ID of title. So let's give have a page title and a h1 element. So this is going to be within the body. It's not the head title. and we want to give it an ID of title. And if I just kind of hit save or enter there we go. We can see as we go, we're going to tick them all off. So yeah, all of these are X'd out at the moment, and we're going to go one by one. So that's the first one, H1 with an ID of title. Then we should have a short explanation in a P element. So that's going to be P like so, and that will have an ID of description like that. And we just need to make sure that's within the P tag here. So I'm just going to put that there. And what I'm going to do is just put title for the title and like paragraph for the paragraph like that. And let's just hit enter, and looks like it's going to run all the tests. So yeah, hopefully that doesn't slow things down, but there we go. We've got the title should not be empty, so that's because we've got the title there, we've got the P element and the description as well. So yeah, I'm going to start filling out some of this. You can obviously add this how you wish. Let's say call it a survey form or my survey form, and then kind of describe what it's about, what you're going to be filling in. So number 3, we need a form element. So let's create that, and that will be like so. And that they want to give an ID equal to oops, survey dash form like so. And let's just confirm number 3. Yeah, that's good so far. And actually I just realized there's a couple of extra kind of test criteria to the point. So what I'm going to do is just go through them and periodically just check things are okay, maybe for each section now. Yeah, rather than doing it each time. So within the form element, you are required to enter your name in an input field. So let's create that. Like so, input, and because this is required, we're going to put required like so, and this is the name that has an ID of name, ID equals name, and a type equals to text like that. So that is required on the form. So if we were to go to submit it and we didn't have that, it would kind of show the default HTML basically required little symbol. So inside the form element, you are required to enter input of email, and that also has the corresponding ID. So I'm just going to copy and paste that and change this to email. That's also required. and there you go. So if I try to enter something that's not a real email, when I go to submit, it will need the sort of @ sign and then something like that, .co.uk or .com, whatever the email format is. So yeah, that's a HTML5 validation error that you'd get for both of those. So inside the form again, it can have an input, a number input. So this is going to be type, I think it would be decimal. Let's see. Oh no, so there is a min and max. So let me leave the type for now. Just create the input like so, and an ID of number like that. Oops, I just want to kind of push that over so we've got some nice indenting, which is yeah, sort of the correct way. So let's just enter that and see how we're getting on now with our form. We haven't missed any as we're going down here. The email should have a type of email. So type here should be email. So of course that will give it the validation that it should be a valid email address. Cool, that's a bunch of those. The number should have a type of number. Okay, so it wasn't decimal, it's number. And then obviously we need a min and a max. So let me just go back up. And this one could be just like that. So let's say min of 0 and a max of 10, for example. And there we can see we can go up to 10 or down to 0 is the sort of the range of that input field. For the name, email, and number, you can see corresponding label elements in the form that define the purpose of each field with the following IDs. So what we want to do is give these labels. So let's do a label here like that. And what I'm going to do is copy that down 3 times. That I'm using the Option, Shift, and the down arrow. Otherwise, it would be the Alt key on Windows, and that's how I'm able to kind of generate that same piece of text each time. And just going back to the label, I'm going to give all of them an ID here. So what I'm going to do is hold Control or Alt, depending on if you're on Mac or Windows, respectively, and click whilst I'm holding it, and it creates 3 cursors here, which is quite handy. So you can see now I'm typing ID, and then I'm going to do dash label like that. And then what I'm going to do is come off that with the 3, and then just type in name here. This one will be email, email, and this one will be number label, like so. And I think if I'm right in this is that each of the inputs can be nested within inside the label. Let's see if that's correct. If not, I believe what we'll do is kind of just match them up by the ID, but let's see if that passes them. So I just need to sort of scoot that in there and just indent it properly, like so. And yeah, let's just check that and see if we've missed any, but it looks like we're doing quite well. And the label should of course contain text, so that would be number, email, and name. Let's see if that then passes those, which it does. Cool. Yeah, and yeah, it should be within inside. So the label wraps around the input, and then I think I've seen it in other ways as well, is that you can have it on the outside and you match it up by the ID, and maybe there's a for attribute. It doesn't look like it's needed here. So let's go back up and see which one we're on. So I think, we had just done number 10. So for the name, email, and number input fields, you can see placeholder text that gives a description or instructions for each field. So if I go to example 1 here, this is placeholder text where it says enter your name, enter your email, age, select your current role, for example. So this isn't anything that's sent with the form. It's kind of like, it's not even default values, it's just placeholder text to kind of describe what that is. So again, for each of these, I'm going to select all of the inputs with that option, holding option and clicking, or holding the Alt key and click, and we'll just type placeholder equals, create some strings here, and this one I'll just enter your name, this will be email, and this will be age, like that. And actually that could just maybe be age, there's not that much. Like so. I think it was age it was asking. Yeah. Cool. So let's just see if that then passes all of these. And yeah, it looks to. So now we're on the select field. So where are we? Yeah, so inside the form element, so still within here, just outside of all the last label there, we want a select drop-down element, so that is select. And that is where a user can, as you can see here, select this one, some predefined options from a list. So that's the drop-down, but yeah, it's a select element, and then I assume there'll be some options within there. So let's see. So we want to give that an ID of drop-down, like so. And yeah, it says that we want just at least 2 options to choose from. So I'm going to do option like that. And I'm going to replicate that, as I said, with the option, shift, and down arrow key. Otherwise it would be alt, and then we can just do option 1 and option 2. And you can see this is the field here, and there's our 2 options. And if we wanted, again, I think we can do a placeholder within that, but yeah, let's see if that's needed. So obviously it's looking very basic. This is just raw HTML, there's no styling. But yeah, you can kind of then appreciate how CSS can make things look really rather nice, a lot better than just the standard render that we get there. So let's check that. There we go, that's good. So just going back up. So inside the form element, we can select an option from a group of at least 2 radio buttons that are grouped using the name attribute. So let's do that. So I think we want another select. Let's just confirm this. Select, because yeah, I have used a lot of libraries now for forms or kind of have pre-built components. But let's see. So I think, let's see if we can do a radio button, or it might be input type radio. Let me just check that. Put type equals radio, and let's just see if we get there. We actually do get a radio button there. So I'm just going to copy that down 3 times, and I think it will be grouped together using the name. So the name is like, let's just call it test, and the name here would be test2. And actually we don't need this 3rd one, and the value for them, so that's what would be then unique, would be like test1, and the value here would be test2. And I think, there we go. So we can see within our radio group, we can't select both at one time, so they are linked by the name here. So it's the same sort of grouping, but within each of these it would have a different value, like so. And obviously we could give these labels and all of that, but let's see if that's required. Going down here, so should have at least 2 checkbox. Yeah, so that looks fine. Obviously if you're doing it yourself, you can give it labels, and obviously when it comes to styling, make it look a lot nicer than it is. So inside the form element, that was the radio buttons. Inside the form element, you can select several fields from a series of checkboxes. So let's try that as well. I'm not sure select is the right one here, so I'm actually going to remove this, and I think if the inputs have the same name and they're radio, it will still allow us to go between the 2, and it should still pass those tests. Yeah, so that's absolutely fine. Yeah, so the select is just the drop down here, the options. So yeah, that's not needed in this case. Cool. So now what I want to do, number 14, is inside the form element you can see several fields from a series of select several fields from a series of checkboxes, each of which must have a value attribute. So let's do input like this, and I'm going to make them self-closing because yeah, we don't need to add labels or anything either side. And I'm going to copy that down, and each of these, does it say several fields? So let's just give it 3 for now, see how many we need. And these will be checkboxes. So type equals checkbox, like that. And there we go, there's each of those. And the value will be equal, again, I think that would be something unique. So checkbox 1, and then I just want to give this one a 2 and this one a 3. So these are unique values, and as you can see here, we can select 1 or 2 or none of that sort of group of checkboxes here. Yeah, that's good. So let's just check that test for the checkboxes. So yeah, that passes. Perfect. So number 15, inside the form element, you're presented with a text area. Let's just see if that is I'm pretty sure it would be an input text area, like so. As I said, I'm going to start using self-closing tags, just because it's a bit easier. And yeah, that will allow us to add in additional comments. And what I would actually recommend is, if you're unaware of some of these input types, we go and check out the sort of Mozilla Developer Network MDN docs and just see what other values you can kind of put in here. So obviously, like placeholder, that would just be like, let's say, text, and you can see that appears here. But there's a bunch of other stuff you can, I think, do how many lines and rows or like columns. Obviously the max length of the input, if there's any other restrictions. Yeah, there's a lot you can do there. So, but yeah, I definitely recommend to check that out. And then finally, inside the form element, we are presented with a button. So we need to create a button now. And this will be /button like that. And it's going to be submit, and then we want to give that an ID of submit, like so, and that will submit all the inputs. So if I click it, we can see here we've got our first piece of validation, obviously from HTML5, where that is a required field along with the email, and the email will need to be formatted as well. So if I just do that, let's say, you can see here that it needs an @ sign. It's missing the correct formatting of an email address. Cool, let me just save that and see if we've passed all the tests now, if there's any that failed. So yeah, just one. We need at least one text area that is a descendant of survey form. I wonder, survey dash form, that's right. I wonder if it's because it's the self-closing tag that hasn't recognized it. So let's yeah, rerun that. That hasn't text area. Let me take out the placeholder text. So at least one. Let me just try two. I'm not sure. Let's see. So that is a descendant of the form. Why isn't it recognizing it? So I'm just going to type in HTML text area, and if I go to the docs here, just confirm, oh, it's actually a separate HTML element. So if we go back here, this will actually be text area like that, and we can get rid of this one, and there we go. Actually, that's kind of what I was looking at or thinking about, in terms of you can resize it, and also you can dictate what information you want. It was sort of, I guess, how many widths, like columns and rows, you can have as well. There's a bunch of, like here, as you can see, sort of attributes available within HTML5 for that. So there's autocomplete, autofocus, you can disable it, max length, min length, placeholder values, all of that stuff can be done. So let's see if that passes, and there we go. That is the challenge, at least the HTML version. As you can see, it doesn't look the best. You know, we have no styling or anything, but yeah, I thought I would just do this to help out anyone if they get stuck. And you can see it's quite good to, even I didn't know or forgot, I guess, the text area is a separate HTML element. But yeah, simple Google and you find it out. So yeah, if you do go ahead and complete the form and get it looking either like this one or having your own style, I'd love to see kind of what you've built. So let me know in the comments below, either with like a CodePen or a GitHub or GitLab link to your survey form. Love to see kind of what you've built. And yeah, thanks for watching and good luck with the rest of the course.